Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mila and today this was very random, this is me improvising last minute, last second, and I wanted to do a quick analysis on Liz and also her relationship and also with the news that she brought into the world. So how I got to know about this girl is approximately a year ago. A friend of mine showed me her videos and this was one of the videos that I watched and I absolutely loved it. I think this girl is amazing, great. She raises expectations from men. She raises women's self-esteem. She's trying to motivate women to be better, do better, and want more, and for ourselves. And when I found out that she was Russian, I was pleasantly surprised, because I think we Russian women, we're very powerful, okay? And I'm not trying to identify myself with her, but I just know that Russian women are women of power. Russian women, unfortunately, a lot of the times intimidate men quite often. Russian women can be very intimidating, but this is not the point. So since study therapy, psychoanalytics, so I will do a quick analysis on her content, what I sort of see within her channel, what she's doing and why she's so popular, and all of that. And then I'm gonna jump really quick into her, I don't know, ex-husband or husband, and I'm gonna analyze and give a few things, and I'm gonna tell you also why I think this happened, right? Why this whole situation happened with her and her husband, I guess husband now. So to begin with, right, who likes her content? Her content is for people pleasers, for people with low self-esteem, for people who do not believe in themselves, for women, right? I'm talking about women. That's why. And she acts, okay, this girl, first of all, she's stunning, she's beautiful. I also found out that she's from Chechnya. It's like a part of Russia where, well, you don't want to end up there, but anyway, Muslim, right? She has strong values, she has high standards, and she can be herself. You can see that she's there with a mask, without any makeup, talking about how women have to raise standards for men. I think this is amazing. I love when someone is themselves. This is great, love it. However, why her content resonates? See, she acts in a way like a super ego. What is a super ego? See, when we're kids, think about it like this. When we're kids, our psyche starts forming and we need an adult. We need an adult to give us permission to do things. We need an adult because adult can contain the feelings that we cannot contain and process ourselves. We need an adult like a mirror to show us who we are. We need that adult in order to grow and in order to internalize some of the qualities of the adult, internalize it, so then we can live our life with the kind of like the stability, with the super ego, right? Have low self-esteem, have issues, have problems, cannot defend their boundaries, have low expectations of men, right? Feel bad about themselves, they're scared to be who they are. And so she really targets that kind of market where she gives people hope. She gives people hope to be the best version of you, okay? She allows people to be who they are, which I think is great, and some people really need that, definitely 100%. But most of the time I would suggest therapy, and I love the fact that she partners with BetterHelp, and she promotes therapy, right? So I think that's amazing and that's great. So we need that, right? So we especially people who have been raised in critical homes, they have, how some people, they have that thing like they need to call their friend to ask for advice to validate their feelings, right? You know that story, you know that situation. Well, she makes content for people like that, okay? However, here is the thing, right? Here's the thing. Motivational advice and motivation is good enough for this long, okay? Motivation, yes, if you maybe watch it again and again, you can get motivated. You'll start maybe slightly changing your perception. You start maybe thinking a little bit different. And I saw the comments, people say, you changed my life, such and such and so and so. Here is the thing. Motivational videos cannot change how your psyche operates. Motivational videos cannot all of a sudden unlock your potential. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Because in order to actually make a change, you have to be in therapy. Okay guys, so now on to this one. So, she shared the stories and she wrote that he cheated supposedly by creating a Snapchat account to message another woman. She then goes on thanking the person and saying that she's going to sell the ring and donate money. So here's the thing. When you post your relationship online like that very openly, then you are inviting for people to be the spectators and to have an opinion. This is one of the reasons I would not do that, because I do not want to have people commenting on my personal life, So you're inviting that. It's like reality TV. It's a reality show. Fair enough. Look, some men cheat, some men don't. It happens for multiple different reasons. It could be many, many reasons. So why this happened in this relationship? So before I tell you the reason why this guy actually cheated, I'm going to play a short clip. First of all, we're dealing with a gamer. Okay? Well, not we are. She was dealing with a gamer. It's a person who plays games religiously, who made money on games, and who then later on, I watched one of his videos to understand his personality and all that. And I watched one video where he talked about his startup, right? So the startup and the company that he has is a sort of like virtual reality or augmented reality, where I think from what I understood, where you play game in like augmented reality. What does this say about this guy? Men who play video games religiously, first of all, computer games, it's just an escape from reality. It's a pure escape. You're escaping, okay? You're escaping into a game where you can become the hero, where you can have a whole life, right? Because it's in a way, it's like Netflix. When you watch Netflix, you escape because you live someone else's life through those series. So same but different, because in the games you have more control. In Netflix, you cannot, those series, movies, whatever, you do not have control. But in the game, you have some kind of control over who you're going to become and who you would be. So what does this say? It talks about a lot of unresolved trauma. It talks about probably controlling parenting. It talks about, feeling of inadequacy. And later on in his videos, where he explained why, he was trying to apologize, even though he didn't really apologize for what happened. And that's his choice. He doesn't want to apologize. That's his choice. He wants to say sorry once or twice. That's his choice, Who are we to blame? So that's okay, I'm not going to go into this right now because I'm trying to slowly deconstruct everything, okay? Even though I'm very excited to go to this part. Later on, he makes that his pathway, his life. He builds a project, a gaming app or whatever that is, where he makes that something that's going to bring him money. It's almost like Elon Musk with his fantasy. So in this video 5 years ago, he said that this project is going to compete with Apple and is going to compete with Microsoft, which is not happening. His project, from what I understood, is nowhere near competing with these giants. So what does that mean? And I'm going to try and pull it up right now.
Company ARC will rival Apple or Microsoft or Amazon within 5 years.
Okay, guys, so you got the point, right? You got the gist. He did say that, and from what I know, it's nowhere near. But I mean, God bless him, and I do hope that he fulfills his dreams and that becomes a rival or whatever he wants. But to me, it just shows a bit of, I don't know whether I can call it like a bit of an ego, or maybe a bit of grandiosity, possibly fantasies of, unlimited success and power. He obviously believes that he's a genius and a visionary, and he might be, I'm not doubting that. And a lot of the times, I'm not calling anyone, I'm not diagnosing, but the fact that lots of narcissists, they do tend to achieve many highs and go high because they solely believe in They just believe in themselves. Another thing is that playing games and playing so much and being a gamer, it can also represent you're trying to compensate the fact that you're powerless and that you want to have the power and control. And I also believe that gamers, they have magical thinking, and I think that's where, Liz and him, they get along, because there's certain aspects of magical thinking there, which is fair enough. I'm not judging. We do need to sometimes to use defense mechanisms such as magical thinking when reality is intolerable, right? And magical thinking prevails these days because it's very difficult for a lot of people to deal with reality. Reality is harsh. Reality is difficult. It's not pleasant, right? It's so much better to believe that, if I'm just gonna listen to that meditation or whatever they call it, sublimation or subliminal, I think. If you listen to it, then the next day you're gonna wake up all beautiful and rich. It's just, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work like that. What works is your actions and what you do. And this guy is putting things into action, and he's doing things, and good on him. Honestly, good on him. He's doing something. So he's not just sitting there playing games at home. He's actually going out there and building a company. So that's a step to come out of that infantile mentality of sitting and playing games. You're going there and you're building a company. So you're stepping into the adult world, which means that his ego should be strong enough to do something like this. Okay, but he also has massive support. He has how many, like 3 million followers, right? So now I come to this video where they have this Q&A together on YouTube. The video got like 1 million views literally in 3 days, which is crazy, because I know so many people are involved with her life, because she almost became like a reality figure, like reality TV. She shares her personal life a lot, and she talks about her relationships and all that, which is very strategic, which is she's building her brand, and she's built a very strong brand. We could only learn from her. We could learn from that. Looking at this video, for some reason, I had a sense that she was acting like a mom, and he was acting, even though he gives her presents and he buys her things and he's a provider, but that doesn't matter, it doesn't matter who's the provider here. It really doesn't matter. A man can still provide and still be a baby, and it's okay, that happens. And so for some reason, because you can see that she's very strong-willed and strong-minded, and he kind of just like looks like a puppy who's, following her and, kind of doing what she asks in a way. And so here is the thing. We have no idea what happens behind the scenes. We have no idea whether she is critical of him, because when you act from the parental role, you can become critical. So we don't know. Maybe she's criticizing him, or maybe not. Maybe she's being a soft, gentle butterfly around him. This is not to blame, okay? I'm not blaming. I'm just sitting here, analyzing it for the fun of it. And because, I was speaking with a friend of mine, and I'm like, okay, tell me more, what's happening? Drama? Let me hear it. And I was like, this is interesting. And I saw how people are reacting, and I'm like, why? Okay, people are watching it, then something must be going on. Like, I need to get involved. I wanna know what's happening. I want to know why people like her so much. I want to understand what's going on, why, right? And so this is what I'm trying to do. Anyway, I got a sense that, he is that kind of guy, right? That there's a possibility, even though she's very feminine, she's very like a girly girl, right? But if you see how he looked 4 years ago, and I think from what I understood, he's 23 years old and she's 25. So she's also older than him. So what happens? So when this dynamic happens in a relationship, what happens is a man might lose his, sexual drive. A man might feel pressed too much, right? A man might feel, what we hear is we only heard a fact, that what happened. He cheated, he got a Snapchat, he started talking to another girl. That's all we know, right? And all of a sudden, so today when I met with my girlfriend follows her very much. And I could see the distress on her face. I was like, what is going on? And she's like, all men, this. And I'm like, okay. hold on a minute. It's definitely very sad to find out that a man cheats on a woman who's pregnant with his baby. Not good. Not good. But the thing is, there's always two sides to the story. There's always events that lead to that. And I'm sure that, Liz, if she would have seen, again, I don't know these people. I'm just like, what I see is what I say. I can only analyze from what I see. I don't know these people. But when this guy has been gaming and his whole life revolves around gaming, there's a slight chance that you can expect, certain infantile behavior, certain infantility, right? Infantile men. It's like a man-child, okay? And I don't know if he's a man-child or not. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. No idea. But that happens, okay? Men children cannot take responsibility. Yes, he might be making money, but does that mean that he can take responsibility for his actions and his emotions and for her? I mean, the fact that he proposed could mean that he wanted to keep her. Like if you're a child, you want to keep your mom close. You want to keep your mama close. So that could have happened, and like, honestly, I have very very little information for me to really kind of like explain the type of, dynamic that is happening. But from this video, I had a feeling that the dynamic was that it was a mom and that was a child. She's older, he's younger. She is like more like this and he's more like this. That's what I saw. And so then he says,
introverted person.
But I'm also introverted, but I was like,
station and aware of energies and all of this, and
manifestation, energy, magical thinking. Magical thinking is how they got along, probably.
So in my head, like, Liz was that person and I wanted to just be friends with you, to be honest. I told you that right away. I was like, hey, I'm trying to be...
She's very beautiful. I can't believe that.
Like, I want to be friends.
Yeah.
And then...
I was definitely not going to be friends.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. But no, within like 24 hours, I realized...
See how she's smiling? She says, I definitely knew that we didn't want to be friends. So she obviously liked him a lot more. And he's just there like, So it feels like, oh, I just want to be friends. So he's a bit dismissive, avoidant maybe. And she's like, I definitely know. I just don't want to be friends. So she definitely liked him more. He might have liked her a lot, but I just can't get over the fact that she's pregnant 4 months. 4 months pregnant. I can't get over the fact. It's devastating. I would not wish that upon anyone. This is mental. But again, guys, look. Ooh, he talked to another woman. How bad? Who are we to judge? How do we know? Okay, this is where I come to this, my conclusion. How do we know? Who are we to judge? This guy, okay? And obviously, of course, it's sad that, what has been done, but who are we to judge, right? Who are we to judge her or to judge him? You never know what their dynamic was. You never know how they were together at home, because on camera, it's one thing. I have a friend. I remember we haven't talked for two years. I call her up and I say, hey, I seen you have a boyfriend. You look like you have amazing love. I'm so happy for you. Yay, finally, I'm so happy. To what she tells me, he's a narcissist. I cry every day. I hate my life. I'm like, what? Okay. And then I realize, don't believe how people act on their YouTube videos, how people act on their... in the social media. Just don't believe what you see on social media. Never believe what you see. Don't. So we don't know, okay? She might have been treating him with criticism. He might have been just extremely acting like a complete man-child. He could have already had red flags from the beginning that she overlooked, because you can see she looks like a happy puppy. No disrespect. She really looks like a little happy kitten, not puppy. Let's call her kitten. She looks like a happy kitten. And the guy's just in frustration. Or frustration? What is it called when you're just like in space? You're in space. Or it could have been, it's just like, it could have been two children collided together and two children decided to have a family. But what's going to happen when two children actually have a family? Nothing good is going to come out of it, when two kids decide to have a family. But I don't know. Again, I don't know. Who's acting like a child here? Who's acting like a grown-up? Who's acting here like a critical parent? How do they act with each other at home? What actually truly happens? We never know. To sit there and to say, oh my God, and this, to be fair, this was also my reaction. I was like, oof, it's just another time when I hear that a man has done something like this, where a man has disrespected a woman, where a man has cheated on a woman. And I've just been hearing it so much that when I heard this, I was like, not again. And my girlfriend was like devastated because she's like, how can I believe any man? But we have to bring ourselves back to the senses, because this is their story. This is just their story. The guy, we don't know him. He could have been showing plenty of red flags. He could have been nice on social media, but he could have been one big walking red flag. And because Liz had abuse previously, she might have not recognized certain things. He might have acted like something in disguise, and so love bombed or whatever, like anything could have happened, right? So what I would urge you guys is to keep your emotional stability. I want you guys to be safe and to not feel like all men are crap, and to not identify with her, a victim, and become an aggressor to him, because you don't know what happened, okay? And I am not justifying this guy. It's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. But hey, it's common. It happens. I know it happens. I know stories where men unfortunately cheated on their pregnant wives. I know many cases like that. So it doesn't surprise me, to be honest. It doesn't surprise me. But does that mean that we can now call him the evil of all the evil? No. Okay? There's a scale of evil. Okay? He could have beaten her up. He could have wrecked her. He could have slept with her friend. He could have taken all the money from her and scammed her. What's better and what's worse? You know what I mean? I think eventually, she's posting all these stories about, how she's going to sell the ring, how she's going to do this and do that. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that her being that motivational speaker, stand up for yourself, self-worth, I think there is a 20% chance that she might stay with him. There's a 20% chance that she will, because a child needs a father, okay? And maybe it could be co-parenting or whatever. Now she has the whole world, 8 million people involved in the story. So everyone's going to be watching it like no tomorrow, and she's going to have a lot of pressure to deal with. This poor girl is going to have so much pressure, because right now she knows that she cannot take her words back and forgive this guy and try to rebuild the relationship. Do I say that you have to rebuild, forgive and let go and, forgive the person? No, obviously not. But you still need to co-parent, right? Yes, you can divorce, you can stop being in relationship, but you still need to co-parent, right? So I have no idea how this is going to go. She's pregnant and she's soon going to be giving birth. She has to deal with this. It is mental, guys. It's crazy. Very sad.
You just love to get me going,
No, I just genuinely, that was a real concern. That was not the poke at you.
I also feel like she talks way more than him. He just sits there. That shows that she's the leader in the relationship. Maybe. Throwing this out of the window for what? For an ego boost? For an ego trip? To feel validated? Because you're bored? I feel like there's deeper reasons to that. I feel like there might be something that she was maybe not giving him, and God knows what he was wanting to receive, but if people do not communicate in a relationship, then things like that happen. So God knows that what he wasn't communicating, what was not being communicated there. God knows maybe they did not have, I don't know, sex for 10 months or something, right? And how, so as a man, you'd probably want to, So I just don't believe, guys. I don't believe that you can just throw everything out of the window over something so physical. Surely there's something that was not being, there's a need that's not being satisfied. It's whether he needed validation, and he said that he did not feel validated enough, which is strange because the way she looks at him is she looks like she is giving him enough validation. But if he felt like he's living with a mom, then in a way it would make sense, because would you have sex with your mom? No, you wouldn't. It would become incest. the relationship becomes incestuous. You do not have sex with your mom. So if you see your partner as a mom and she sees her partner as a son, then relationship is incestuous. No sex.
I love how you're like a butterfly. That's something I really admire because I'm the complete opposite. Like I'm so in my head. I don't know, that's just something that I love about you. It's like, yeah.
Me clicking my head.
I love how we can have deep conversation.
You can continue after this video.
I love your laugh. I love...
Great. Okay, awkward now. Okay, so things I...
Strange, very strange, because if someone tells me this, I would just say, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. But she's very shy when he gives her compliments. It makes her extremely... It feels like she doesn't feel comfortable and she feels very shy. Interesting.
admire.
She is.
Like, he idealized. In other videos, he mentioned that she was the one, when I saw her, she was the one that I knew I was gonna marry. And he said something about idealization, that he saw her as an ideal. But what happens to an ideal? Ideal can be devalued very quickly. In a spare moment, ideal goes down and you devalue that ideal. So do not idealize. It sounds like, I don't know, by the sound of it, maybe he might be idealizing her, or she might be idealizing him, vice versa.
The thing I love most about you is how smart you are. I love your brain. And that sounds very...
We should do more videos like this. I like them.
He said he likes it so much when she's praising him. And I see, I don't know whether he doesn't get enough praise from her, or whether there's a narcissistic part of him that just needs constant praise. I have no idea. Now guys, let's take a look at this last video that he created, and it's something about forgiveness. First of all, it's a very weird angle. It's like you're trying to hide. You're not very just the way he's recording it, it's not about owning up and taking responsibility. It's very childlike.
And ask for understanding, because I made a mistake, but that doesn't mean that I don't love Liz. I love her with my entire heart, and we have a baby on the way. And over the last 10 months, I have done everything I can to give stronger than this. I thought I was smarter than this, and I let something build up inside of me that I indulged in, and it is weak and it is despicable. And in this, I'd like to just take full accountability. I don't think this should have been aired out, honestly. And there's so much, oh my God, there's so much to say that I am not going to say. But
I wonder what is so much he would want to say that he's not going to say. Obviously, there's something hidden there. Obviously, there's another side of the story, you know, maybe process it on your own, try to really process it. And when that happens, he straight away posts stories.
I shouldn't have to learn this way, so I'm sorry. The final thing I'm going to say, and then I'll probably delete these. I love Liz more than I could even put words to, and I've shown her this, and I've tried my best to make her feel safe and happy and protected. And while yes, I made this mistake, I want to be a great man. And I'm not there yet, but I know that a great man is one that takes accountability. I know that a great man is somebody who makes a mistake and then can be forthcoming, honest.
I don't know, I don't really believe, it sounds like a child is trying to apologize to the mom and be like, Mom, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know, something is not right. I don't have the energy right now to analyze this. Maybe I'll do a separate video analyzing this specifically, but it's not a mistake. It's a choice that you made in a moment that turned out to be a mistake. That was a mistake from the very beginning. Well, it was a choice from the very beginning that he made. So I think the honest answer would be to tell why. Why did he want to do that? And I mean, it's a man. Well, he's gonna say, I just wanted to get laid. I don't know. I don't know. It's just really sad. It's unbelievably sad because they posted that video and now this happens. It's just like, surely there was something there. Things like this just don't happen out of nowhere. It comes slowly. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna finish this video. Thank you very much for watching. Try to not split, try to not think black and white and say all men are, and try to not get involved and identify with her too much, and then so you end up becoming an aggressor and you start becoming aggressive, and so try to calm your senses. This is not your story, this is their story. It happened to them. Everything happens for a reason or whatever. I don't know. Even though I think this happened not just for a reason. This happened. There were certain things that brought them to this moment. I'm 100% sure about that. And I feel really sad for Liz, because it's just unbelievable how she's pregnant and now she's taking it public. In a way, I wish for her that she didn't do that, because if she decides to go back to him, or she decides to co-parent, it's going to be like, and now it's the baby's there and it's going to be bad on the baby, and it's a bit of a mess. And I just sometimes I feel like people should really be keeping their business personal, because now she has involved, however, how many million followers she has? 8. So she's involved 8 million people into this story, and that can be heavy. That can be heavy, and especially you being pregnant. I don't know. Yeah, I just wish her strength. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Comment, follow, like, and soon I'll be finalizing my website that I've been building for such a long time now, so you can check it out, check out my courses, my service, etc. I hope to see you soon, so see you guys. Bye bye.